everyone, and welcome back to Lucky Loaders 15, where I'll be giving you 3 of my best tips for tomorrow's racing. Now, before we get stuck into that, let's quickly just recap on how our selections have performed today. In the end, it's been a good day for us here on the YouTube channel, as we had an 8-1 winning nap, as Definite Wisdom got the job done at Musselburgh for Craig Nicol and Rose Dobbin. Like I said, it was advertised here on my YouTube channel at 8-1 last night, and there's quite a bit of money around for it. I think the final SP in the end was 4-1, and it was a really good ride by Craig Nicol, who did commit quite early. If you were watching the race, he made his move down the back straight, and he got all his other rivals working hard from early on, and in the end, I think that's what won him the race, because he was, at one point, it did look like down that home straight, just starting to get pegged back by Shamrock Street. And we've had a few examples in the last month or so. I can think of Ask Emery, poor old Fixed Rate, that looked like they were going to win with any amount in hand and then fell at the last or just got caught on the line. It's been a bit of a sickener recently with quite a few of my selections at decent prices as well, when it looked like they were going to hack up. So yeah, I had my heart in my mouth a couple of times down that home straight at Musselburgh. I thought it was going to be a long way, but in the end, Craig Nicol was able to hang on, and he won okay in the end by, I think, 1.5 lengths. So that was a good result there. I hope some of you backed it. The other selection, my next best of the day, was Electrical Storm. Now, this one was a little bit weak in the market, and I couldn't really see why, because like I said on here last night, I really fancied it due to it going up in trip. The form of that Kempton run as well, and its pedigree suggested that it should be better with time, and also as well stepping up in trip. So I was confident of a good run, and I think we would have got a good run for our money, you know, if the gaps had opened up. Callum Shepherd was the last one to come off the bridle, and he looked like he had the race at his mercy. He was tracking the pace, he was in a good looking position, you know, just sitting in there in the box seat, as they call it. But in the end, the gaps didn't open up. The Red Sea was shut to him. And in the end, he got out too late, and then he ran on to finish in second place, and Callum didn't give him a hard time in the closing stages. There was one moment where there was a bit of a gap opening up, but it quickly got slammed in his face. Maybe if he had committed, he could have gone through, but it's hard to know. Jockeys do make mistakes, you know, and yes, it was frustrating, and the fact that he drifted out to a nice price, and if you got best odds guaranteed, that would have helped, because I think we advertised him at 9-4 and he went off at 10-3. So yeah, bit gutted there. But with the way our luck's been of late, like I said, with a few horses when we've been on at big prices that have either been collared or fallen at the last, I'll take an 8-1 winning nap every single day. So yeah, glad we were able to put that one up for you, and I hope some of you were able to back it. So like I said, I'm going to be having 3 selections tomorrow, and let's get stuck into them. So for the first tip of the day, we are actually going to be going to Fontwell for the jumps meeting there, and this is going to be my next best tomorrow, which runs in the 135 with a horse called Cool Off the Dogs. Currently you can get this one at 7-1, and I'm going to recommend 4 places being provided by Skybet each way, and this horse is trained by Gary Moore, and his son Jamie is booked for the ride. Now this horse ran well, I thought, for a long way at Plumpton. When he finished in 5th place, he was travelling quite well, and then he got hampered, and that kind of just knocked the stuffing out of him, and he wasn't able to go on. However, that day he was running over a longer trip, over 3 miles, and he's dropping back to 2.5 tomorrow, which I think will actually suit him. I think he probably just doesn't quite stay that far. And also as well, the form of that race has worked out not too badly, because the winner that day was Invincible Cave for Chris Gordon, and that horse went on to follow up, I think it was a week or so ago, at Lingfield under a penalty. So yeah, nice to see that form being boosted. And he's only 5 years old, this horse, and he's got a mark of 91, and I think that's a fair workable mark, you know, and I think he's going to have races of this nature in him, and I think he's quite a juicy price tomorrow. Furthermore, Gary Moore's team haven't been in bad form of late. They had a good couple of days at Sandown. They had a few winners there, and they're obviously hopefully going to have Goshen later in the week in the International Hurdle at Cheltenham. So I think the Yard are coming into a little bit of form now. If you know your racing, you'll know that they always like to target runners at Fontwell. It's one of their local tracks. They always seem to have a winner there, and I think this horse will be a lot shorter come post time tomorrow, and I think he definitely has a race in him of this nature, and I think he's a bit of value at 7-1, and that's why I'm going to recommend an each way selection there, with the 4 places being offered with Skybet. So that's going to be the next best of the day. We then go to the 247 at Uttoxeter, where they've got not a bad little jumps card tomorrow. And for my nap of the day tomorrow, we're going to be going with a horse called Go Steady for Harry and Dan Skelton. You can currently back this horse at 5-2. And this horse has got a good record since he's gone over fences. He's 3 wins from 4 starts. And he was arguably possibly a little bit unlucky last time out when he was still banging contention. He was travelling really well at Fontwell, but he did unseat Bridget Andrews that day. But I think you can forgive him for that effort. Now, he's off a mark of 116 here. And I still do think that is a workable mark, even though he is going to be giving quite a bit of weight away to some of his rivals. But if you look at his rivals, to me, they're not a bunch of horses that really scare me. I have quite a few doubts about them, whether they'll like fences. Are they a little bit high in the weights? Will they like the ground as well? Because it will probably be quite testing at Uttoxeter tomorrow. It's currently described as soft. But Uttoxeter, if you know your jump racing, is always one of the most one of the most courses that has the testing ground, in my opinion. It's always very attritional stuff there. But this horse can handle the ground, no problem. He won on heavy ground at Warwick earlier in the year. And even though this is going to be the furthest he's ever tackled during his career, he's won over 2.5 miles. This race is going to be over 2 miles, 6 miles. I think he has the attributes to go well. Also as well, Dan Skelton's team have been in really good form, operating at 25% strike rate. They like to target their runners at Uttoxeter as well. Always have bags of winner here. And also as well, Harry Skelton is going along very nicely at the moment. And possibly if he keeps churning out the winners, he could be still an outsider in the Jockeys Championship. Obviously had a good day winning 2 Grade 1s at Sandown on Saturday. So a lot to like about this horse, I think, tomorrow. And that's why this horse is going to be my nap of the day. We then go with an extra tip. Now, this is quite short, I will admit, for an extra tip. But I thought it was one of those. It would either win or it could be a shocker. But I thought there was a little bit of value in the price. And this horse runs in the 5 o'clock at Wolverhampton tomorrow, called Halfway to the Moon for Rab Havlin and John Gosden. Now, obviously, there are connections there you want to sit and take note of. But this horse has probably not yet put her best foot forward. She's been a little bit of a quirky customer. You know, she's been wearing headgear. She's taken time to come to the fore. But I think some of her form in this kind of race actually isn't that bad. Now, she finished 4th at Wolverhampton last time, and not a bad novice for the time of year, and also as well for the grade. And she was quite badly outpaced at a key point, and that was over 1.5 miles that day. And in the closing stages of the race, she started to rally and stay on again, and Rab Havlin didn't give her a hard time at all. And she's going to be stepping up in trip tomorrow, going to the extended 1 mile and 5 furlongs. So that's going to help her as well. But also as well, she's going to be making her handicap debut off a mark of 67. Now, in this race tomorrow, she's going to be able to get the fillies allowance and the 3-year-old allowance. And that means if you take her on terms with probably one of her main market rivals, Social City, there's hardly anything in it in the weights at all. So she's quite well in there. And also as well, she's got the pedigree to improve as well. She's a daughter of See the Stars, and she's got plenty of stamina in her pedigree on her dam side. She's actually bred by Bjorn Nielsen, who's the owner and breeder of Stradivarius, and also as well English King. I don't know where you guys stand on English King, if he was a success or a flop. Probably you have to say a flop. But yeah, you know, bred by top connections. And yes, this horse will be at the top of the betting tomorrow because of the jockey, because of the trainer, because of the connections. But I don't think this is a particularly strong race. And I think 67 is actually a workable mark for this filly on a handicap debut. And like I said, I don't think it's a strong race. And I think there's quite a few things in her favour tomorrow. And that's why she, in my opinion, represents a bit of value at a bet at 15-8. I think she could have arguably been slightly shorter. She could have been possibly 5-4 or even money, in my opinion, or even a slight touch of odds on. So yeah, for me, I think this horse, Halfway to the Moon, is worth a punt, and that's why it's just going to be an extra tip of the day. So let's then quickly round up the 3 tips. In the 135 at Fontwell, we go with Cool Off the Dog, 7-1 each way is the next best. 4 places each way, Skybet 7-1. And the 247 at Uttoxeter, we go with Go Steady as the nap, 5-2 win only bet. And the extra tip of the day runs in the 5 o'clock at Wolverhampton with Halfway to the Moon, 15-8 win only bet. So that's all I've got to say, really. So if you're enjoying these videos, please make sure you subscribe here to my YouTube channel. If you're enjoying them as well, please remember to give us a thumbs up. If you want to follow me on social media, the best place to do so is on Twitter, where my handle is at LuckyLoader15. And if you want to find out a little bit more about myself, my website address is www.chrisloaderracing.co.uk. So please game responsibly. Hopefully we can have some winners tomorrow, and we'll be seeing you soon.